Benjamin smiled and said, "No worries. I'll have someone drive him back." Wilbur was relieved to hear that. He said goodbye to Mr. Grayson and returned home. It was rare that Faye was not at home. He thought she must be working on what they discussed earlier, so he went back to his room and fell asleep. The next morning, he felt super hungry when he woke up. He kept drinking with Farron, so he did not eat much the previous night. He was so hungry that he could barely stand it. Faye was not awake yet, so he drove to a restaurant and ordered a bunch of food. He was ready to eat to his heart's content. He received a phone call right after he ordered food. He answered the call. "Bro, where are you?" Wilbur was stunned. He could not believe it was Farron. "I'm having breakfast. What's going on?" "Wait for me, bro. I haven't had breakfast either. And I'm starving. Save a seat for me. I'll be right there." That was beyond his expectations. He shook his head and sent Farron his location. He could not understand why someone important like Farron was interested in combat. Farron soon arrived in an Audi A4. For him, this model of luxury car was already considered quite a low profile. "Bro, I'm sorry. I drank too much and embarrassed myself yesterday." Farron sat across from him. He seemed embarrassed. As Wilbur stared at Farron, he somehow felt that Farron was a genuine person. It was weird for someone important like him to give off such a feeling. Wilbur smiled and said, "It's all right. You're not a lightweight anyway. What do you want to eat? Feel free to order whatever you want." Farron nodded. He ordered buns and a bowl of soup, and they started to dig in. Right at that moment, a disheveled man with greasy hair approached the restaurant slowly. He was missing an arm and limped as he walked. It was difficult to discern his face and age as he stood some distance away in front of the restaurant. It was clear that he was starving, but he was also stubborn, refusing to go any closer. He did not seem like a beggar because he was making an effort to save his dignity. Wilbur noticed him and sighed. He ordered some food and asked the owner for takeaways. Then, he carried the takeaway box toward the man. "Dude, I overordered and can't finish the food. Here you go," Wilbur offered. The man lowered his head and silently accepted the food. Wilbur then turned around to head back to his seat. "Thanks," said the man in a low voice. Wilbur was shocked by that voice. He slowly turned around and approached the man. He took a closer look at his face and asked, "Ethan?" The man was surprised. He slowly looked up at Wilbur, then instantly burst into tears. He called out, "Boss." Wilbur jolted. He held Ethan's shoulders in disbelief and asked, "Ethan, what happened? What happened to you?" "I'm sorry, boss. I've embarrassed you," Ethan said in tears. Wilbur hurriedly pulled him to his table. As Farron noticed the situation, he quickly rushed over to help support Ethan. "What happened to you, Ethan? I remember giving you enough money for your family." Ethan Osborne was a member of the Abyss Mercenaries. He tried to protect a fellow soldier during a battle and ended up having a grenade blow up on him, taking his left leg and his right arm. He was saved in the end, but his right arm was amputated, and his left leg was left crippled. Wilbur gave him a lot of money for compensation. That money was enough for his family to spend the rest of their lives without any financial worries. Wilbur always treated his brothers well. He did not understand how Ethan ended up in such a miserable state. He was just like a beggar. Wilbur felt sorry for him. He looked at Ethan and remembered how fearless he was in battle. Ethan was a friend he made through life and death situations.